Right, it's 10 o'clock. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the BandLab Songwriting course. So I'd like to start this morning with an overview of what we've done so far. So I'm just going to play this song that I've been creating. And we're going to focus then on the bridge today. Now, some of you have pointed out that perhaps the structure of this, what we might call a classic pop song, doesn't quite suit your style of music. If you're into trap or hip hop, there are many different ways to construct a song. But I'm hoping that whatever your taste, you'll still be learning the basic skills that we're doing in the process. And for example, today we will be looking at slicing up samples, reversing samples, and changing the pitch. So we're going to get quite advanced today. Let's get on though, and I'm going to play the song So Far. So let's have a look at this area here, bar 37. And I'm going to select it by lassoing. Let's start from down here. And lassoing is a way to select all the different loops at once. So there you can see a lasso and they've all gone white at the edges. I'm also going to right click here and set cycle to selection. And what that means is if I click that, that is now automatically cycled round and round. It's a bit too long, so I'm going to go back to there because the bridge is short, it's 4 bars. Let me zoom in and let's have a look what's going on here. You can see there are smaller samples here, and this is 1 bar long, and I've sliced these up into 4, so quarter of beat samples. If I solo this track, here's the beat, and it starts off with a full beat here. Then I slice it into a half a bar and then into quarter of a bar. This is the sound it makes. That's the beat. Let's have a listen to the same effect with the bass. And you can hear there the quarter samples, the quarter loops, they change pitch, they go higher. And the idea of the bridge is to create a crescendo, which is again a short build-up suggesting something is about to happen. And the something that's about to happen is the second chorus. Let's have a quick listen then to the final sample I've used. The final loop is a keys loop. And you can see once again, it's very, very similar. It's split into quarter beats. Let's have a listen. So how's this done? Well, the first thing we're going to do is find 3 loops that you like. So what I'm going to do here is delete, select first, and then delete this example that I've used, okay? I'm going to leave this for a minute. This is the second chorus, but we're heading from bar 37 to bar 41. So the first thing I did was to find some loops that I liked. Same in the way that we did the introduction, the chorus, the verse. We found a group of samples and loops that we liked, and we then started changing them. I've also made some notes, which is also useful, I think. And so, for example, I know that in the bridge, I'm going to use beat 7, bass 5, and keys 15. So beat 7 is the one I'm after. And when you have a go at this, I expect you to spend a little more time because I've prepared this one, so I know the one I'm going to use. I'll leave you a couple of minutes to find a really good beat that you like that maybe has a crescendo built in. So there it is, beat 7. And I'm going to drag it in, making sure I'm on the beat track, which is the top track, and at bar 37. So there it goes, and I can play that now. Let's solo that. The next sound I want, the next loop I want is the bass, and the one I've chosen in my notes I can see is bass 5. So there's bass 5, let's have a quick listen. Now that's really busy, and I am not intending to use all of that because the bridge, I want to be quite minimal and a fair bit of space in it, but I like the start of that one, so I'm going to drag it in, and this time, oh, wrong track, I'm going to put it on the bass track. The bass track is red, and you can see on the left-hand side it says bass. And the last video we looked at how to get organized and set up some good habits. One of those is trying to stick with the beats on the beat track and the bass on the bass track, etc. You'll notice here I've got a beat 2 track because I'm going to add another beat, but I'm going to add it on its own track. So here's the beats and the bass. Let's have a listen. Now I'm going to do some interesting editing here, but before I do, I'm going to get the third track, third loop that I like for this section, which is the keys 15. Let's slide up, keys 15. Once again, drag it onto the keys track, which is melody 2. And there now I have 3 tracks, the main 3 tracks for the bridge. One more listen. Now, I'm going to leave you to have a couple of minutes to find 3 tracks. Before you do, let's remember to just change the grid size as we do each time. So I'm going to go to View, Grid Size, and it defaults to Smart. I'm going to go to Bar. We will actually be changing that during this session, so that's how we get our stuttering and smaller beat size effects. For now, change your setting to 1 bar, and I'm now going to give you, let's say, 4 minutes to find a beat and a bass and another sample, another loop of your choice. Now then, the first thing we're going to do is start altering the beat, and we want it to have this stuttering effect at the end. And what we're going to do, first of all, is change the view and the grid size, because now we need to go down to 1/4. So I'm going to click that. And what that means is, instead of when I sort of bring this back now, instead of it going back a bar, it will go back 1/4 of a bar. So I've shortened that by 1/4 of a bar. If I pull it back 2/4, 3, 4. So make sure you go to View. Let's just go up there again. Grid size, 1/4. This allows us to do some fine editing. Okay, so I am now going to use this bottom right-hand corner to shorten the sample, and I'm going to bring it to bar 40. And now I'm going to slice. And slicing is where you literally cut a sample at some point. So I've got the beat at bar 40. If you can do that as well, that'd be great. And don't worry if you're not following this too carefully. These are quite technical, advanced techniques and might take a little bit of practice. But as I say, I'm recording this video, and if you want to look back at it, you can a little bit later. For now, have a go. And the next thing I'm going to do is move this marker or tap on bar 39, and the white marker is telling me it's exactly on 39, and that's where I'm going to slice this beat in half, even though it's unequal half. So there's two ways to do that. I can press S on the QWERTY keyboard, or I can right click on the menu on the sample, and there's slice. So let's do that. And now you can see one slice there and one there. So that's exactly what I wanted. And now I'm going to pull this in 1/4 and 1/2 bar. So it's even smaller, but I'm going to copy this, not extend it again. Just copy this first little section. So up to the top right-hand corner and copy it for 2/4 or 1/2 bar. And that will give this effect. I'll solo the beat because we're concentrating on that. And what that's doing is repeating a beat or 1/2 bar twice. Let me move this across. And the next thing I'm going to do is extend it further, and I'm going to slice it again at bar 40. So what I'm going to be getting is just that first quarter. So if you remember, to slice it, I can right click on the menu and slice, or this time I'm just going to press the letter S on the QWERTY keyboard, and it's done the same thing. If I pull this out, I've got the sample emerging in its entirety, but that's not what I want. I want to just loop this tiny quarter section. So I'm going to go up to the loop copy function, and that's going to repeat just that first bar, that first quarter bar. Let's have a listen. That's quite a complex process. So I'm going to give you a couple of minutes now to slice here, first of all at 39, and do 1/2 bar repeated. And then at bar 40, just that first quarter bar repeated 4 times. By the way, if this goes wrong, don't forget you've got in the top left-hand corner, just under Go to Library, you've got an undo function and a redo function. So don't panic. If it all goes terribly wrong, or even just slightly wrong, you can be undoing, but also don't panic as well, because you can look back at this video and be pausing it carefully in your own time to get this right. I'll give you 2 minutes now to be slicing up your beat. And remember, the effect is to create a crescendo and a stuttering effect that will suggest that the bridge is leading into something more exciting, which is going to be the second chorus. Great stuff, well done. Now what we're going to do is do a similar thing with the bass. Now if I play my bass, I'm going to solo just the bass, S for solo. There's a lot of it I don't want. One way I describe that bass is busy. It doesn't stop. There's no gaps, it's lots of notes, and I want the opposite. I just want a little bit of bass coming in and out, but with the same sort of stuttering quarter beat effect at the end. So what I'm going to do is go to 1/2 bar between bar 37 and 38, and I'm not saying that you should do this, but just watch how I might edit a sample and create some interesting effects. So I want the 1/2 bar there, that's the bass, the little bit I want, that's all. So I'm going to press slice by right clicking and slicing it there. And now I'm going to delete the rest of that. So I can press the menu, delete, or I can press delete on the QWERTY keyboard. And I don't want to copy that because I won't have any gaps. But what I want to do is copy it and move it. and I want to paste it, copy and paste it to bar 38. So right click, this time copy, or I could press Control and C on the QWERTY keyboard if you've got a PC, or Command and C if you've got a Mac. I've copied that, and now I want to put it on bar 38. So there's my marker. Right click and paste. And now I've just got that half a bar of bass. Let's just play that. I'm now going to do that again on bar 39. This time I'll press Control and V. There's the third one. And I'm going to do that again. So another Control and V on 39.5. Have a listen to this effect. Good so far. So at bar 40, I'm going to press Control and V again. Or let's do it with the menu this time, just to change it. There's paste. Okay. And this, at bar 40, is where I want to shorten the sample, like we did with the beat, because it's a half a bar long now, and I want to make it a quarter. So this is how I do it. I go to the bottom right-hand corner and I drag it in. And now it's just 1/4 of a bar. And I'm going to copy that. I'm going to move the cursor to the next quarter and paste it in. So that's 2/4. The cursor's automatically moved. So I'm going to right click, paste again, and right click, paste again. Let's have a listen to that. Let's bring in the beat by pressing solo or clicking on solo. So I've got those two tracks playing, the beat and the bass. Drag that to the middle so you can see it nice and clearly. So what I'd like you to do now is slice up whatever sample you have, if it's a bass, and to sort of copy what we did with the beat. So we started with 2/2, a bar, and then went on to 1/4 and 1/4 and 1/4 and 1/4, just like the beat here. We did it in a slightly different way, but it adds up to the same thing. So let me give you a couple of minutes to do that right now. Now, what we're going to do here is do the same thing or similar with the keys. Now, I've copied this slice section over here just for my own benefit, just to play the section in its entirety, because the keys I've done slightly differently. You can see they've got 4/4 bits here, but I've left it running because actually it works with the track. Have a listen. And you can also hear the pitch effect that we're going to put on next. If I just solo the keyboard on its own, it is different. I haven't cut out any gaps on the keyboard, and I haven't sliced it in half here, like I did the drums or the bass. I've just let it run. So this is the keys again on their own. And I did that because the pitch is going up anyway, and the pitch going up is often an indicator that something exciting is about to happen. And a lot of the risers that DJs and producers used, the pitch goes up as well as the speed or the stuttering effect. So let's get back to where we were, which is bar 37. Let me put the cycle on. And I've still got to make this stuttering effect here. So what I am going to do is go to bar 40 and slice it. Select it, right click, first slice. And to move a little bit quicker, I'm going to move that to the next slice and press S on the keyboard. And I just want that one. So once again, copy, copy, final copy. And I've copied that first slice. This is what it's going to sound like. And now slice it, and slice it. So 4 of exactly the same parts. Let's put it all together. Take the S for solo off and have a listen to the beat, the bass, and the keyboards with those 1/4 bar stuttering type effects. Here we go. So once again, let me give you a couple of minutes to finally chop up and slice your third loop before we get on to the pitch adjustment. So we're even going to get more advanced now by changing the pitch of the quarter bar samples. The beat is going to stay the same. I did experiment with changing the pitch of the beat, but I didn't like it. So I decided just to stick with the stuttering effect, staying on the same pitch. But the bass works very well. So watch very carefully here. The first thing I'm going to do is double click on this sample, this little quarter beat. And you notice what happens when I double click. At the bottom of the screen, I've got a huge representation of the bass part. And if I move this over, we can see all of the bits that I've done in the bridge. So the first 2 are there. And I double clicked on this particular part and you can see it highlighted here at bar 40. Also, we've got some information over on the left-hand side. Under pitch shift, it says 0, playback rate 1, and reverse. And here we can have some real fun messing around with the loop. So for example, if I reversed it, it would go backwards. If I change the playback rate, it would go faster or slower. Highly recommend you don't do that at the moment because that is likely to take it out of time with the rest of the track. We're going to concentrate on pitch shift. And the way I'm going to do this, and you don't have to do the same, but I'm going to leave the first quarter at exactly the same. So it's not changing pitch at all. It's got a 0. I'm now going to click on the second portion, the second quarter, and I'm going to change this up by adding a plus or clicking on the plus, and you'll see it now changes to 1. And that means it's a semitone higher. So let's just play that. I'm going to solo the bass so you've got a quick insight into how that sounds. That second loop is now 1 semitone higher. So I'm going to go to the third loop sample, that's that little quarter there, click on it. And this time, I'm going to go to the plus on the left-hand corner and tap it twice. Once, goes up 1, and twice. Now we have the number 2. So that now has been pitch shifted by 2 semitones. And finally, I'm going to go to the final one, the fourth one, currently at 0, and I'm going to press it 1, 2, 3. So what I've effectively done is change the first one, or keep the first one exactly the same. That's no semitones, exactly the same as the rest of the bass. The second quarter, if I click on it, you can see in the bottom left-hand corner has been raised 1 semitone, so it's slightly higher. The third one is 2 semitones higher, and the fourth one I'm going to click on is 3 semitones higher. And the effect is this. And I'm going to do exactly the same with the keys now. So the first quarter, let me click on that, is 0, and I'm going to leave it on 0. The second quarter, tap on that, and I'm going to change that to 1 semitone higher. Then the third quarter, click on that. That's going to be 2 semitones higher. 1 click, 2 click. And the fourth quarter of the keyboard loop is going up. 1, 2, 3 semitones. There it is. Let's put it all together. Now, first of all, let's hear it on its own, just the keyboard. And take the solo off, and I'm going to play the beat, the bass, and the keyboards together. So you're going to do that with the bass and then with the keyboards, in my case, or whatever loop you have decided on. The numbers were 0, 0 pitch change, 1, 2, and then 3 semitones up. Have a go, and when you're ready, just put in the chat, ready. Well done, Robin and Will. And Margot says, yes, it's a really cool method. Great. Glad you like that, Margot. What I'm trying to do with this series of webinars is not be prescriptive and saying this is how you create a song. It's more about creating a structure. This is a pop song, really, but then learning some of these skills and showing you the sort of interesting thing you can do with BandLab. It looks a very simple DAW, digital audio workstation, on the face of it, but below the surface, you can do some really interesting and exciting things. And a lot depends on your experience and your imagination. So that's why I would love you to be experimenting in between the webinars to mess around and be creative with all sorts of effects, all sorts of ideas. Now, the last thing we're going to do on the bridge is what I call icing on the cake. We've done it before, and it's adding some form of effects or symbols just to add that impression that something else is going to happen. And for this, I'm going to go back to something I've used earlier. I'm going to just rewind my screen, and I'm going to find this reverse cymbal. Can you feel cymbal crash reverse? You might have used something else. If you haven't used anything, I'm going to grab that, one click, and Control-C will copy it. But let me just show you how you might find something appropriate. So back to our bridge, I'm going to bring up loops, and we've got some options here. We've got that little note, we've got packs, and we've got loops. I'm going to go to loops, and we can search in 3,000 plus loops here. And if I put crash, I've got a load of different sounds there. Crash cymbals, reverse crash. And so that's a great way to find sounds that you might want to use. So I'm going to just go to 37 and paste in the one I had earlier. There it is. Can you feel crash reverse effects? Now it's not in the right place at the moment because I want this loud bit here appearing at exactly bar 41. So I'm going to move this across. So it ends, as you can see, just before the next section. The effect is this. But you heard the reverse cymbal there. I'll play it soloed so it will remind you of what it sounds like. Let's just start from bar 39. Okay, it's a very small effect, but it's, as I said, it's icing on the cake. It's adding those little touches that a producer, a mixer would add just to create a crescendo or an impression that something is going to happen. Let me give you 1 minute to find something, doesn't have to be a symbol, that will work effectively. Just before you do it, actually, let me show you a little trick as well, which is, here's a cymbal, and we've used cymbals in the past. So here's a crash cymbal. And one little trick we can do is this. I can right click on a crash cymbal and reverse it. There it is. And you can see I could now use that, put it in the same place, and I've got 2 reverse cymbals now. Let's have a listen to that. Okay, so it's twice as loud now. And you can see I've already got 2 effects tracks. In fact, I've got 3, effects 1, effects 2, effects 3. So I could add a lot more effects, and we will be doing that.